Hello, world. We've got my Aunt Connie and my Aunt Beth. They're here on a bonus episode of God Talk. We're extending season 2 to make space for these wonderful gals. They're beaming in from the Midwest. These are aunts on my dad's side of the family. These are my dad's sisters. And today I think is going to be a conversation getting into the different stories of your life. They are both retired educators from many dutiful years. Connie in special education in a public school setting, and Beth from religious education in Catholic school setting, but also some diocesan work, and maybe a little bit of parish work in there as well.
Mainly
Uh,
diocesan, yeah.
yeah. They're
Mhm.
both singers. They both love music. They got that from my grandparents. And today's conversation, as we continue this theme of sacred stories, we're going to get wisdom from the stories of your lives, and we are honored by your presence. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hope you don't disappoint.
I know you won't. Let's get right into it. Can we talk past, present, and future? That's kind of the themes we'll work with.
Mhm.
Let's start off with the past and let's talk about the impact of your parents in your life and how that shaped you as a human being.
I'll let you start.
All right. Although I think you're the organized one, Connie.
Well, Beth,
That
you had
doesn't make
mentioned in
any
our
difference.
you had mentioned, Beth, in our pre-meeting about your dad's impact. You had talked about
Yeah,
that.
Dad had a great impact. One, I think, was his positive attitude, but also his view of people was very open and very much one that was, he reached out a lot. And it made me someone who realized or looked for the goodness in all people
Mhm.
because it felt like he was very intentional about looking for the good in all people.
Yeah.
So, and also seeing God just in everything, to pause and say, look at the corn growing. See
Mm.
that? Now God does that. We don't do that. Or maybe a pig being born. This is a miracle. He just kind of instilled that looking for God in every little thing in life.
Mhm.
That
And my,
touches,
yeah,
that touches on Richard Rohr's mysticism and his contemplative forms of prayer. He tells us and encourages us to stop and look at trees and look at leaves and flowers, and you're able to tell the goodness of God by doing those types of things.
that's very much Dad.
Yep.
I mean, just looking for there is God. I think my mother was someone who, not that Dad wasn't she really depended upon the religious rituals and traditions to
Mhm.
help her stay grounded and for strength. Not that my dad didn't, but I think his faith was more of a right here in the moment, looking for it
Mm.
type thing.
And
How
you
it was, yeah,
you grew up on the farm there in Northwest Iowa, and you still live in Iowa, but you live in Dyersville now, and then
right.
Connie, you're in Wisconsin.
Right, right. And both of us where we live are still very much agricultural areas,
Right.
very agriculture. In my area, there's uh, very large dairy farms.
So
Um,
if you need to go find God in the milking barn or the manure pit, it's still you can go smell it. You can find it just down the road.
yeah, the key is you smell it. And it is interesting though, in the area, people, if when they move into our area, near Madison, Wisconsin, let's say they're from a big city,
Yeah.
they don't understand, oh, the smell is terrible, and why can't we stop that? And I'm like, hey, you're moving into their territory. This is just, this is farm life, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and, it's, a $4 billion industry in the state of Wisconsin. So let's not, belittle this.
Right,
But
right.
anyway, but I got a little off sidetrack.
But you grew up on the farm.
grew up on the farm. So, I mean, I appreciate that. But for me, when I uh, to also add on what Beth said, gifts that our parents gave her of us, the gift of humor. And, and I think especially again
That's
for
true.
dad, don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
The ability to be able to laugh at yourself. I mean, that's just healthy. Um, so I think that is something I really take away from. And mom, her love of music, I just really feel, uh, for any uh, sense of rhythm and um, the harmonizing and things like that. I mean, that's just such a part of me, but that was really instilled from mom with her love of music. And when I think of all the times we would uh, listen to Lawrence Welk religiously, you know, and when Bobby and Sissy would dance, mom would pull one of us kids out and we would dance, we'd learn how to polka or waltz. Um, but when the Lennon sisters sang, I mean, it's just all this harmony. And I don't know, that just really I just sunk in, that was just, and I love that gift. I
Yeah.
love, I love that gift, you know. Um,
And
When
I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, Beth, when you said that your father would reach out to people, are you talking about like marginalized people, people that have been ostracized by the society?
Very much so. And I didn't even realize that maybe that person was down on their luck, or that that person was very lonely, or that that person maybe was regarded in a different way by the majority of people
mhm.
because he would never go there. I mean, I was like, oh, they're so gifted and special and they're friends with dad, or you know what I mean? But no, I think maybe he had it again. I think it was an intentional thing that he did to reach out to, you know,
This
the
sense of
lost, or
inclusion,
yeah, yeah,
the lost soul. So
make
that's
a
a,
make
it's
a
just,
make a point to be there for all people.
well, and just to acknowledge them, maybe nothing more than just, hi, hello, how's your day going? I mean, but to acknowledge them, whereas other people would probably just walk by and go, ugh, you know, don't
So
know
in
that guy.
West Bend, when you're a kid, we're talking about a town of what? A couple thousand people?
Not even that.
Not even
Yeah.
that.
I mean, the farm community, I mean, the town itself was very small, but that was when you had, a lot of farm families. So it's difficult to put a number on the community itself.
Right.
Town
Okay,
Yeah.
was small.
so 1,000 or two, maybe
Yeah.
less. If you're pulling in all the families with 5 kids and six
Mhm, mhm.
kids.
Yeah. Yeah. You might be right. Yeah.
So at what point did you realize that this was something that Grandpa did? Or at what point did you realize that the people that you thought were so special and gifted, not everybody else saw them that way?
I think when I went to school,
Mm.
Okay.
a little bit, I maybe there was an awareness, maybe when I went to school, oh, I wonder why, maybe I started clicking then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think as a kid I
yeah.
was putting all
No,
that
okay.
together.
Right.
Probably when I grew in awareness as I got older and I became more familiar with families and their background, and
Yeah.
um, div- and also I think another thing Dad did is he was a big one on bringing gifts to the neighbors.
Yeah.
He would, and just doing little things. I remember one story that really sticks in my mind. My um aunt, it would be my an aunt, I'll say,
Yeah.
she lost her husband. And one time she shared with me when we were visiting, she goes, I just want to tell you one thing. I was so down one day, and all of a sudden your dad appeared at the door, rang the doorbell, and said, I just thought you might need a hug. And he gave her a hug. And she said, you don't know how much that meant to me. And, another thing Dad did is he would bring flowers. He loved
Oh,
flowers.
love.
And he would get all these flowers from I'll go in a greenhouse, and he would stop at, probably the landladies' places with
Always,
flowers.
like at
And
Easter
he
and
would bring
Christmas.
flowers to the Mary altar in church, and mom, and maybe some widowed people in town.
Wow.
And he just did little, yeah. And that
Small acts of
stuff
kindness that spoke great volumes.
Yeah.
And you all grew up in a Catholic home.
Yes.
What was it like having a faith-filled home, and how did that impact you, years later, now that you're looking back on it?
And not that grandpa didn't practice, but it sounds like grandma really kept a lot of those traditions and rituals.
Oh, but my dad was very much on, here are flowers for the May altar, and again, yeah.
I think as kids, you just took it for granted. I mean, that was just life. It was just
Grandma
life.
had you praying the rosary, or
Yeah, that was part, yeah.
During Lent, especially
Yeah.
like during
during
Lent,
Lent sacrifice?
down on your knees, do your, and everybody has their beads and
It's kind of just part of the air we breathed.
yeah, I mean, I
It's
just
part of the air, kind of like that Matthew W. Smith, one of those, there's a song out, the air I breathe, but it was just part of that. It was so integrated in our life that it was part of who you were.
I mean, we see the crucifix on the wall. You learn that that's something you do when you get a house. You put
And holy water was holy water. Bless yourself with holy water. Bless yourself with holy. To this day, I have holy water on the refrigerator, and I bless myself quite a bit. And before the children leave, or when they were growing up, I would bless them, because I guess that was just so much. Holy water was so visible and just a part of daily life.
she always had a special font, and I mean, it was always filled. And I remember when I first moved away and was on my own, and I mean, I had like a little container, to hold holy water in that I always kept. I remember when I first started traveling as a college recruiter,
Yeah.
I always took that little vial or whatever it was of holy water and put it in my suitcase. And I just, you didn't leave the house in the morning. I mean, as there was the holy water font. It was just,
You blessed yourself with holy
you
water.
blessed yourself with holy water like you'd go in and brush your teeth before you walked out of, I mean, it was just
Part
Wasn't
of
there
life.
someone in town who made those little fonts?
I got one behind me, Father Graving did. That's why
Yeah.
I looked up. I thought, "Ooh, I've got one up there." But it kind of, and I could go
like you're in
read it.
church, but at home. You just
Yeah.
dip.
Yeah.
Where's
Can
the
you
font at?
What's that?
Where's the font at?
It's up.
Oh,
up
she's
at
gonna
the-
grab it.
Oh, I thought those were candles.
Well, there is one of there
Are a couple of
candles.
candles up
One
there.
of
Oh,
those
okay.
Sister Michael gave me in case I don't know, world comes
Look
to
at
an end or something.
that.
But yeah, I think Father Graving made these. Yeah, order from Father Louis Graving, West Bend, Iowa. Now you're going to say, why isn't there any holy water in it? Because I use these little plastic ones that
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I always have that in my classroom too.
I'm gonna get me one of those. I didn't know that they made like little homemade fonts, little
Yeah, and you
household fonts.
hang it on your wall.
That's nice.
Dust it.
Well, it's nice because the water in that, the water stays longer rather than just putting it in the little
Container.
tray, and it dries out so quickly. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right.
So you soaked this up. I mean, this became a part of your life.
That was
You're on
just
the
part
road
of our
as-
life.
Yeah,
It-
you're on the
but
road as a missions rep. You're getting a new house. You're putting the crucifix on the wall. You've
Yeah.
still got the holy water font.
Yeah.
So those things when you were a kid, they didn't just stay in your childhood. They came with you. That was
Yeah, it's just it's the faith. It's my faith, way of my faith. I can't take it away from me because, like I
It's
say,
just
I still have the
part of the DNA.
yeah, it's part
There
of
you
the
go.
DNA.
Another F word that's a part of your DNA is not just faith, but I got from our pre-meeting that fun was also a part of the family tradition. Can
Oh,
you
yeah.
talk? You talked a little bit about it, but can you talk a little bit more about how fun was ingredient to your family tradition?
Oh, well, on Sundays, when Dad wasn't in the field, we would have to turn to the New Ulm, Minnesota station, and it was polka music. Polka music. Polka music. Or if we would go for a drive on Sunday afternoon to just check the crops, or if there'd been bad weather, let's see how much rain we got. You know, if it was Sunday afternoon, the New Ulm station came on, polka music. Um, but, and of course, if we were in the house, yeah, we'd have to do
And
a few polka jigs and dance. And
uh,
I can't,
Beth is not remembering this as fondly.
Well, I just, Connie's 5 years older,
yeah.
but on
Oh,
and just those things that make life memorable, those little things like the different kind of treats you had or floats you
Oh,
had. I mean,
when
those are
we walked the bean fields
yeah.
in the summertime,
uh-huh.
To go
uh,
home. Yeah.
Dad would, and for, I mean, we would walk the fields to pull out weeds,
Yeah.
but, it was hot. So a treat, Dad would often make malted milks, homemade malted milks, or we would have root beer floats,
Or
or,
go to Bode to the
oh,
restaurant for a California burger.
yeah.
California.
Oh,
I mean, and it was just such warm, happy, fun memories, you know.
And he was a jokester. He liked to go, like he liked to tease
Yep.
grandma's sister. And, like if they would call daily, and then he'd pick up the phone and go, Jack's mule barn, which ass do you want? He'd pretend he was Mrs. Kopecky. Hello, this is Mrs. Kopecky. That was his stage name, Mrs. Kopecky. And I remember one time when Kathy Redding was in Washington, D.C., and she worked for a legislator, and he called her up and just started ranting about an issue. And pretty soon, Kathy goes, Grandpa? So he liked doing things like that.
He did. Yeah.
Just like to.
I remember one time Tony and I were home, my husband Tony and I were home, and it was around Halloween. And he goes, You guys, come with me. I want to go over to the neighbors. I want to just give them a little spoof of them. And he puts on this rubber mask that just looks like an old, decrepit person and puts an old blanket and he bends over like this. And I'm just like, oh, do I want to be a part of this? I don't know. Come on, come on, come on. Tony, come on, come on. So we go up to the guy's house and he knocks on the door and he just stands there. And the guy, I'm sure, doesn't remember me, although he has an idea. But Dad's sort of mumbling and talking, and the guy is just sort of like, what the, do I let you in? Do I not? And then finally the guy goes, Claire, is that you? Because he started putting again, two and two together, Claire, and but Dad loved doing
That
he
kind of
just
stuff.
that kind of
Practical
stuff.
jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but nobody was harmed.
oh,
You know,
yeah.
yeah. And just fun, and of course, once people found out it was him, and they just laughed and laughed. And you remember when he passed away, there were so many people that would come through to pay their respects. And so many would say, I remember the time your dad did this or teased me
Or had it started a water fight.
yeah,
You know,
just
Wow. We've been
So that was really special. Yeah.
And younger people too.
Yes.
I think about it, some kids younger in the neighborhood who, when someone dies in their late 70s, but would come and say, he made me feel important or special.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before we move on to talking about some of your, or having some questions about some of your careers, I want to ask each of you to just give me one little special memory of mom. One little special memory of mom that you'd like to share.
Can I go first?
Sure,
Since
go
that's my
ahead.
grandmother.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I remember most from grandma? Besides that clock with the birds. That's not perfect. I
Yeah.
remember grandma's cream cheese filled chocolate cupcakes.
Oh,
Oh, I remember when she made those.
Yeah, that's how I remember grandma.
Yeah.
My thing would be is totally devoted, totally devoted. I remember she had us involved in things that a lot of people our age wouldn't have been involved in. She went the extra mile. But I just know one time I missed a drill team practice. She made a point to go and have it so that I could try out. Yeah, she was just quietly, very much, totally devoted, loyal to you.
And she valued you having a good education and being active. And
Oh, she drove us all over the place because we are going to take piano lessons. We are going to be in band. We were going to be in choir. We were going to, what you were out of the house already, but she took Paula and I to dance. And I mean, she was not going to let us miss out on opportunity.
When it came to, and to piggyback on that, I was always in theater and speech. And so we would always be in speech contests. My mom was my coach.
My mom was my coach.
Amazing coach. Amazing
You were
coach.
going to be in speech. That was important. A lot of kids go, oh, my parents only let us do one or two things. Not my mom. I had to tell her, I'm just too tired to go out for swing choir. You have to go out for swing choir. And I didn't. I was, it was disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, she would do
But
it was important.
but not in a
Oh, no, not no.
not in a negative way. But she
No.
was just supportive. But I mean, she was my coach, and she was the, if I needed help, with my speeches or whatever, and maybe that just instilled again my love for the fine arts. Because I ended up majoring in theater, but I loved music. We were in band, we were in choir, we did the small groups. She was the head of the band boosters for a while and the music, mothers, and, she was a 4-H leader. So, I mean, she was involved um, in just, she took an interest.
Yeah. And it was in a quiet way. I don't think I recognized it maybe till I got older because Dad was more the more in a limelight way.
Yeah, she was just more in the background,
Quiet.
but
I didn't recognize it till later.
Yeah.
Some of how
but her influence
yeah.
definitely was felt.
And support.
Very supportive. Yeah.
And soft-hearted, really.
Yep.
But you couldn't tell that initially. But it really bothered her when people were hurting. And she often would say, to each his own, to each his own. And I repeat that all the time. Just let people be.
Yeah.
To each his own. Because I think that really bothered her. And maybe it was she grew up in a family where her parents were from Austria. I think that really did affect her. Don't speak the language outside the home.
Well,
don't draw attention to yourself. Just follow the rules. I think that was very much ingrained in her because of the situation of her parents.
Because of how they suffered.
Yeah.
And mistreatment of them as immigrants when they first came to the country. Very much so.
Yeah, I think that really was in my mom's, just do what's proper, do what's right. Don't draw attention to yourself.
Very
Where
much
my
so.
dad was another generation out. His parents were,
World War I and World War II are all in the background of that.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And don't speak German. Don't speak German outside of the home. And
Yeah.
let's have both of you just share a little bit about your careers, the career paths that you took, both in education. I know Connie was in special education.
Mhm.
Beth, you did a lot of service projects with your students, and I remember you making an impactful statement to me that you tried to find the invisible people in your community. Could you both just share a little bit about your careers?
Yeah, after college, I I was actually a college recruiter from where I had graduated from the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University in Minnesota. I was a recruiter for 16 years. Um,
Wow.
I did a lot of work in central Minnesota, but before I was married, I traveled to the West Coast. I traveled to St. Louis. I would take in national college fairs and things like that. So, in that way, since I had graduated, I felt very strongly. I was very, uh, I had a very good experience in my college education there. And so it was easy. I wanted to share that with people. So I enjoyed that. When we got married and then, moved several places. So we've moved 6 times in our marriage.
Wow.
But um, I had started to work part-time as a substitute as a paraeducator with special needs students within the school district that our kids ended up going to high school in. Um, and I worked that year. I liked it. I really liked the high school. And so they offered me a job, and I was there for 15 years. Um, it was a tough job at times. Uh, But I tell you, the rewards in the end, especially today when I'm out in public and I see some of my former students thriving and maybe doing something that was their dream job or something they've always loved, um, it just, I feel so good. Um, but it was a tough job in the sense that there were some students that were just from very dysfunctional homes. And as much as we tried to make changes or make it better, it, that didn't always work. And I see some cases now, again, when I'm in public, where I'm just like, oh, it's still tough for maybe this student or that student. But those kids, I think really, they taught me um, just to enjoy the little things in life.
Mm.
There's such so little things that just brought them such joy and happiness. And 99% of the time, a lot of the students I worked with, they were just happy. They loved being with their friends and doing activities, but just being accepted. We had a program at the high school. We had a coffee shop. It was called
Yeah.
Pelly Cafe, and our students worked in the shop. They did the baking. They uh, filled orders for coffee and things like that. But we also had them working next to mentors, regular ed students who worked with them.
Yeah.
And the key there is just teaching them basic social skills, life skills, just the basics. Because so many of these students always have an adult with them.
Oh.
Most of the students I worked with, if they went into a class, there was an adult with them. We modified, we explained that type of thing in class. So they lacked the ability just to interact with their peers. And we're like, we're not always going to be here,
Yeah.
you know. So it was a program, again, it taught them life skills on so many different levels. That was just a wonderful program. But again, they saw joy in just the littlest things,
And I'm sure
and
you pulled gifts out of those children that they
oh
or
yeah,
others
oh
didn't
yeah.
know about.
I we worked with a family, and all four of these siblings had selective mutism. And that was a tough nut to crack. But
Wow.
one of the girls in particular, I mean, after working with her 4 years
Yeah.
to see how she opened up and just began to interact with her peers and just, you know, got her driver's license and, you know, worked at the area Costco and, how she just blossomed. Uh, but yeah, you we were we were in a position to change their lives. Now maybe it was just a little bit, but if that's as far as we could get, we felt that was a win, you
And
know.
when you were recruiting, it sounds like you felt like you were where you were supposed to be. You understood the value of your university. It was easy for you to talk about it. You felt the same way when you were working in special ed, like
Yep.
that's where Connie was supposed to be. You
Yeah,
heard, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Whether it was um yeah, I was known for being the singer in the hallway because I had one or two kids where we frequently had to walk the hallways. Uh, and I had a nonverbal student, but
Yeah.
she could say sing, um, and she just loved to be sung to. I mean, I don't care what you're saying. And I'd just walk up and down as part of her physical therapy, and we would just sing. I see that young lady today uh, out in public. She will recognize me uh, and always give me a big hug. So
Wow.
that just makes my day.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, people could look and say, yeah, those kids aren't going to amount to anything. They we found their gifts, whatever, however small it was. Yeah, they were just
That's a big deal.
neat, neat kiddos
And it sounds like,
and made an impact on our lives.
oh, we received so much when we were involved with that.
Yeah.
It sounds like the performance continued. The theater major came in handy. Teaching, teaching is a
It
production.
never leaves
Is it
her.
It
not?
did. It did. It did. Um, yes. And I appreciated my background
Yeah.
in that respect. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. Yeah.
Aunt
So,
Beth, how did you find invisible people? You made this comment during the prep work. How did you find invisible people in your community and the work that you did? And then just tell us a little bit about your career.
I would say in teaching religion, which I really felt like, um, especially, I just really loved it. And I always felt like I was so blessed to be able to be in a Catholic school. I usually told the kids right at the beginning, go, thanks for being here because it allows me to do what I love.
Mm,
And I guess I would hope, I, I, I hope and that every student in my classroom felt important and special.
mm,
That was so important to me. And I would say maybe I did have a heart for those that other kids didn't give a lot of time to. And some of those kids maybe sometimes leaned on me quite heavily.
yeah.
But I just really felt drawn right there in the classroom to keep it a safe place for
mm,
them.
yeah,
When,
good point.
the world can be cruel and
Yeah.
maybe they weren't understood by other kids. I would hope that they knew they were safe with me. And I had some evidence of that. When kids come in your room or they may be, yeah, I felt
Mm,
called right there when you're talking about marginalized, right in
Hmm.
the classroom
right, right.
for academic reasons, for social reasons, for whatever those reasons were to find the person maybe that seemed wasn't getting attention. And then, when I was fortunate to have, groups of students where, okay, where can they, how can they grow in their understanding of all people as God's children? And, even little ways, if we had foreign exchange students, to have them come in and visit with the kids about their life. Okay, now here is just widen your world, or have a student who is visually impaired come back and share how is it to be visually impaired, or maybe to go to places where there are people different than them, culturally, skin color, age, uh, ability level, whether it was group, just where they're seeing all different kinds of people, and just, hey, guess what? We have, we are the same. We are the same in what really matters.
Yeah.
We're all human.
All human.
We're all human. We're all
Yep.
God's children.
Yep.
And that was my thing as I go, dear children of God, children of God. And, the kids would mimic that. They go, oh, Mrs. Derr, children of God. But, just that idea that, we're all, oh, dear child of God,
And
that I think we're all children of God.
that is so funny that you say that. One of my students, you're doing the soul work of immersion. That's immersion right there. One of my students on this past immersion that I just took them on this past week, I took them down to Skid Row, and I'm talking about affluent kids from the valley out here in LA going downtown to Skid Row to serve some of in an area that's regarded as one of the poorest in the United States of America.
Tents and shit on the street,
drugs, the
needles.
It's pretty bad down there. But the kid said, Mr. Presley, when I first came on this trip, I was scared to go down there because I didn't want to deal with those people. And she put it in quotes. That's the way she was thinking. I didn't want to deal with those people. But you know what? This whole trip and working this entire week down here has rehumanized all of these folks for me. And I'm just so thankful to be here. And so that's the work that you do with you did with your kids. How long did you teach, and what kind of setting did you teach in? It was Catholic, correct?
It was a Catholic school setting. I taught in a Catholic school setting, excuse me, for 16 years, and I was with the Archdiocese for 12 years. And then for a short time, I was at a school of religion. But when I came back to Beckman, my last 11 years, I really felt like I came home. I really came home. And that one thing that you mentioned about your experience, my last year of teaching, we got some grant where we could take kids to do service, and I volunteered to coordinate this. And so we took all the freshmen into Dubuque, and one of the places they went to was the rescue mission, where they give meals to people who are homeless. And the number of, on the evaluations, the kids who would say, I didn't even know there were homeless people in Dubuque. Just wow, just awareness.
Right.
We change our own humanity as we become more aware of humanity.
That is wonderful. I mean, that is.
Yeah, that's true.
How we change. Yeah.
Can I jump around for a second? Connie, you talk about the coffee shop and the mentor student and the student in special ed.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the learning on the other side, sort of the socialization for the mentor students and the hallways of, could you just say hi? I remember you saying something.
Oh yeah, I'll share the story. So when I started working at the high school, Danny, our daughter, was a senior there. Ben, our son, was a freshman. And Danny was very comfortable at interacting with the special needs kids. I mean, she had them in her PE classes, and it was just natural for her to reach out and include them.
Yeah.
Ben was more uncomfortable, but he really hadn't been around that many students with special needs. And one day he commented to me, Mom, he said, Eric was coming down the hallway and he said hi to me. And I said, I said, did you say hi back? Well, he goes, I don't know him. I said, Ben, it doesn't make any difference. Next time he does that, you say hi, give him a high five or just say, Hi, Eric, how are you doing? I said, it will make his day. I said, it will mean so much to him. And then he did become much more comfortable. I think that they just, you know, uh, some of our kids did have a sense of humor. They'd like to tell jokes but I think too, that mentor um, had to take on more of a teacher role or
This is how you
uh,
create change. This is how you make sure the lid on the coffee cup is actually on. Because if it's not,
exactly.
it's,
Exactly. Exactly. But they would work with them, and they sometimes they would just be as a reminder, then, they maybe do hand over hand with them. And then as the student got more comfortable, then we'd try to say, now don't do everything because some are capable of learning this task or whatever. Or yeah, they would help them count money or make change or just be a role model for them when a student came into the shop. Good morning, how can I help you? Or what would you like today? Or whatever. And have them start picking up on that and telling them, okay, now the next one that comes in, it's
it's
you
your
do
turn.
that. This is your turn to do that. We also would deliver coffee. We had a little cart where we would go. We had certain teachers that would say, I'm teaching first period. Can you stop by with, and so again, they did knock on the door and Cocopelli and what would you like today? And so they had to, again, interact
Yeah.
uh, with limited supervision, but
Yeah.
um, it was an eye opener, I think, too, for just a lot of the mentors and the regular ed kids, just to um, see that these kids had a personality,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that and that they were fun to be, some were just delightful to be around, you
Well,
know.
as I'm hearing this, you say Grandpa taught you a lot about making the neighborhood the way you want it to be, right? And you both in your teaching, you're trying to teach all of your students about creating the world as it could be. The world could be this
Yes,
inclusive.
Mhm.
that's true.
Right, right.
We could all feel like we're somebody, like we're all God's
Yeah.
children, Mrs. Derr.
Right, and that there's a place for all of us, you know. It's like just because you have, a disability or whatever that, we're going to shove you to the side, you don't matter. No, you do make a difference and you do make a contribution,
And you
you
can make
know.
other people smile, and we can find something that works for you, and it's gonna
Exactly.
it's gonna be good for everybody.
And
Exactly.
I think that's what pains me too. Like in the classroom, I could say, don't you realize the cleverness and the beauty of that particular person? They're so unique and special, and yet maybe their peers couldn't see it. Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Believe in yourself because I see that goodness in you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I had a
I
problem.
see so much goodness in you, but just remember, you're just at a different place, or
Yeah, I
just
would.
because you express differently doesn't
Oh.
make you less than
I had a
or look
project
different.
where all of a sudden I realized that my junior students didn't know everybody's name in our classroom, and from that moment forward, my students do a name quiz the second week of school every year. You're never going to be in a project in my room and say, "Yeah, that kid, he's in our."
That
Right,
kid.
right.
No,
Eh.
that that kid's name is, that's Tony.
Yeah.
That's someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't mean to go off.
No, teaching's wild.
Yeah.
We get to do all this soul work, as you call it, social engineering,
Mhm.
singing in the hallways,
Yeah.
annoying
Softly.
annoying
Softly.
catchphrases, child of God,
Yeah.
sister.
So most recently, Aunt Beth, you were volunteering or subbing with Head Start.
Yes,
You just can't quit. You just can't quit.
Can you talk a little bit about why you do that?
well, one, in my life now, I don't want to be in charge of stuff. I just want to help.
There you
But
go.
I liked the
You're letting
variety.
go. You're letting
Yeah,
go.
let it go. Um, I'd worked with, I had kids go for service there. And
Yeah.
that's why I got familiar with Head Start because I had the kids come and read stories to the children. Um, and I got to know the personnel there and how important it was just even for some of the children to have male role models. Um,
Mm.
and anyway, it was just, and so when I just kind of wanted to go back and say, how could I help? But I don't know, little children, I just, they're so precious. They're so precious. And I just love,
And you don't have any grandkids yet, so you
I
went and
don't
found
have
some.
any grandchildren. And you're right, I don't have any grandchildren. And I
But
think,
you found
but
some.
I want that in my life somehow. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
at least right now. Yeah, I do.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's good.
So you go in and you read and you sub and you,
I've been being there pretty much from 9 to 4 the last several weeks
wow.
because they're kind of short-staffed or they have to find more of a stable. I think it's all going to get corrected this week, but that hiring process takes time and such,
Yeah.
but to replace someone who will be
Mhm.
permanent full-time.
Yeah.
But
And Aunt Connie, in this present moment, you've been, I guess, walking trails and getting out in nature and traveling and
We do. We do. I just, you know, uh, now that we hit 70, and while we still have our health, while we still have our health, we enjoy traveling. We enjoy um, just exploring and discovering. I mean, it can be in our immediate area, but we have done a number of trips to Europe, and you're just there's just so much to learn. There's so much out there that I think I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to get down my list of everything that I would love to see or experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so we are both are very grateful and that we have our health, that
Yeah.
we're in a position where we are able to travel, and we enjoy that. We really enjoy that. And I think there's just, yeah, a lot of gratitude for that. And just again, are in awe and wonder, whether you're seeing this vast canyon or you're seeing a church that was built, you know, centuries ago or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just in awe. I'm just like, how can people say there's not a God? Yeah,
You get made
yeah,
fun of
it's
though because of your relationship to the deer on the walking trails, right?
I
Like you said you get made
just a
fun of.
deer whisperer.
Deer whisper.
we, it's we see a lot of deer in our area and eagles. Um, and I always tell people, no matter how many times I see, an eagle in a tree or a group of deer that are roaming behind our house or whatever, I am in awe. They're just so cool to see.
Every time you feel it.
To me, I just look at that. That's a gift. That's a gift that just dropped in my backyard. Yeah. I mean, I feel really fortunate that,
Mhm.
we're exposed to that or have that opportunity because I know not everybody does, right? Um,
And it's
So
a
I
gift
try.
that I'm sure keeps on giving.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
What's the
Exactly.
name of your group? You've got a trail group or something?
We do. Depends on, it's called Wandering Wednesday,
Yeah.
but there are times that we can only meet on one Monday and it's Meandering Monday.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays, it's Toddling Tuesday. And Fridays, it's Frolicking Friday.
Very theatrical.
I love it.
It is. But there's just, we look for new nature trails, areas that we maybe haven't gone into before, and we always have lunch afterwards. And we also discover,
Fellowship.
yeah, yeah.
I
There,
just I have to say this. Your generation, and I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. Your generation just has so much more of an appreciation for human beings being able to sit down, have a meal, and discuss. That there is just enough entertainment right there, that type of fellowship. Our generation, we're just so obsessed with these phones. We've got to have all this theatrics and dramatization for us to be entertained. But just being able to sit and have a meal and enjoy one another's company.
yes, and just, yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
You use the expression when you're talking about grandpa visiting a neighbor, which is something I remember hearing, and it's sort of a Midwest term. You stop by for a visit. I was having a nice visit, with cousin, and that says it all. You're just there. You're just talking. You're just catching up.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You made a comment in our Connie in our prep meeting, and we have to do little short videos for these long forms.
Mhm.
And so I want to make this a purposeful short video, Jane. This has to be a short. You made a comment, and I'm going to read it. You said that singing was your favorite way to pray.
Oh, yeah.
Singing was your favorite way to pray. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by that?
It just gives, for me, it just gives more meaning, when I go to church. To me, it's just more prayerful. I mean, you can all mouth the words, you say the same words over and over and over, and it just, blah, blah, and it's just that repetition. It's like, it doesn't, it's like, there's no fire in it. There's no,
Mm.
energy, you
Yeah.
just, whereas when you sing, and certain songs just, I think, are maybe mean more to me, or maybe it's right in my perfect voice level that I can just nail it where I want it. But it just, it's to me, it's just more a prayerful expression for me when I am in church,
It adds
rather
some
than
kind of
just repeating the same old words, the same old words.
it adds some kind of spiritual depth to it.
Yeah, yeah. It just,
In
uh,
seminary, we were taught that when they would always question, why did the priests sometimes sing the prayers? And we were always taught that you pray twice when you
I
sing.
have heard that before. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yeah,
And you both sing at church. Connie,
yeah,
you're a cantor.
yep.
Beth, you're in the choir.
I sing it with I do a duet, I do a trio, and then I'm also in this other special group. But
Holy
I would say
cow.
with singing, I think it makes me tune in a little more to the readings, although I usually read them in the
Mhm.
morning anyway. But
Yeah,
the
that's
other
true.
thing, I sometimes offer it up. One, I go, oh, thanks, Mom, for, and Dad for nurturing this.
Yeah,
Oh,
And then
that's awesome.
if there is a prayer intention, if someone heavy on my mind, I just think, no, it kind of helps me focus my prayer.
Today I'm singing for.
Or, yeah,
So it's not only an offering for ancestors and forebears, but it's also a way for you to do intentional intercessory prayer for others.
yes.
sure.
Hmm.
Exactly.
I
Wow.
usually have
That's
someone,
rich.
I'm going
Rich.
to offer this up for this. I'm going to keep
Yeah,
them in my prayer when I sing today.
yeah.
That's so spiritually faithful and formative.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's transition to the future.
Oh.
We've talked about the past. We've talked about careers. We've talked about the present moment.
Are we going to talk about the family reunion this summer? What?
Oh, is that happening? Am I invited?
Invited.
Come on down.
Come on down.
When you look at our world, and I want to kind of take a little serious turn here. When you look at our world and our current political, social state,
And the church.
and the church's response, in regards to hope, is hope up or down? What is the outlook? How does it honestly look? Knowing what we've been through in your life experience, what does it look like right now?
Be my guest.
If I'm gonna look big and look at everything, I can get overwhelmed and I can become hopeless. But then sometimes when I go, I'm just gonna do in my little, as Willard Scott used to say, neck of the woods, I'm going to go be that person, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna live those things. Like Jim, Tom, and I help at the food pantry. And then, like on Tuesday mornings, and I'm gonna go be that rather than, and then like I tutor a person who wants to learn English, and gosh, he's become a good friend. And there's another person I did that too. I've become a good friend. I mean, they're not this person, they're my friend. And and I just think I gotta go, and I just want to go and be that and just do what I can, because I can't do, I can only do what I can do. So I'm going to try, I hope, I just bring unity and make the world come to be what I hope it can be just by what I do, because that's the only thing I can control.
That's an old Buddhist proverb, is be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
Aunt Connie?
How's the view from Madison?
Oh, well, I had an unusually.
We're gonna highlight that.
I had a week ago Monday, I had a couple different experiences, and really it with what's happened politically and things, um, I have concerns. I have concerns for our family, for our granddaughter. What's the future going to hold? What's going to happen currently in our country? But I had two things that happened this past week, where one, I thought I had, even though I have friends who maybe have different political views, we've always been, we don't have political discussions, or we just, we don't get carried away.
Choose
Focus
to
on the deer.
Yeah. And so something happened this past week, and I was very hurt. And I just thought, oh, all of a sudden, this is a little too close for comfort. And I didn't really see that coming. Um, and in turn, I also had one of my former students reach out to me. And I thought, well, this is sort of odd, but I mean, oh, great to hear from you. And he asked me some questions, and I thought, where are we going with this? And then he shared with me, he said, I have had a very difficult year, and it is affecting me, my, my mental state, my level of anxiety, because people, and he made a reference to uh, the people that I know, that he said, I've been friends with them on Facebook, but he said their political views, he said I had to remove them from my Facebook friends. And I felt so sorry for him, because I knew that these were very close people, but because of the division, and the division that I've just never seen, at least in my lifetime or experienced, it's just becoming so severe, and it's really for some, it's just destroying their lives. I mean, oh, my heart just went, you know. So that, that was tough. So I my concern is the severe division,
Yeah.
within this country.
Well,
It's
when you're talking about this, it's interesting because you both live in states that have voted for both sides many different times in your life. So you've been around people with different views your whole
yeah,
life, right? I mean,
right.
you've seen it, and maybe you've seen some trends come and go, but
Exactly.
but you've always had to be coworkers and friends and peers and
But
choir members with
right.
all kinds, right?
And, it was sort of like you agree to disagree, right?
To
You
each their
know,
own.
to
Yeah,
each their
teach their
own.
own.
And you still got along. You worked
Yeah,
together, maybe went out for a drink after work, you laughed together, and
yeah.
all of a sudden it's just like
That's getting hard to do.
it's hard, and
Yeah.
that's heartbreaking.
Because some of the topics, to talk about the severity of it,
Yeah.
some of the topics we can't just agree to disagree on, right?
Yes.
Some of the topics that are coming up now, it's like, whoa,
Oh,
I can't
Yeah.
meet you there,
right.
Right. And so right. And that's it's just like I said, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Mm.
but
Aunt Beth, I want to ask you about a good story that you shared, and I would like for you to hear it if you could, about you going to a Biden rally.
Oh,
Aunt Connie almost choked.
that
If
was
you
so good.
Well, it was just that this was something very important to my son.
and when
And I
was it?
wasn't,
When
huh?
was? How long ago are we talking?
When it was when right before Biden became president.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And he happened to be in a nearby town, and Tom really enjoys going seeing political candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and it's like, doggone, we're gonna get him to go, because he doesn't drive. And so I went with him and we walked in. I thought, this isn't a big deal, but they immediately saw us and wanted us to sit behind the stage.
Oh, you got chosen by the organizers to come on up
Go,
front.
go up front on the stage.
And this is in Dyersville or Dubuque?
It was in Manchester.
Okay.
Okay,
Or just
which is
down the
about
way.
it's the county over. Anyway, and so here's the presentation stage is in front of us, and we were sitting behind. Well, here we're not only like on the 10 o'clock news, we're on the 6 o'clock news, and then and right there are Tom and I. It's very obvious we're there. You can't miss it.
And you're
Well,
teaching at the Catholic school, right?
yeah. And so there was just a great deal of support, and in this there was just a great deal of people who were very, very, very supportive of Trump in the area, and almost demonized anyone that viewed, not demonized, but that's just the propaganda. We demonize that which is different. We have to
Right.
demonize somebody, right?
Yeah.
Right, right.
And I think, and by some of the students, I became, a lib. And I just, that is just a misrepresentation, because issues are so complex. And I think if we all would sit down, we would find a lot of common ground.
Yeah.
And I think we can all
totally agree.
agree on the very basic things, but that's not profitable for people. They profit off our division and such
The
by
divisiveness.
keeping us. But anyway, so, I mean, it was just like, God, it was,
So who told you first that you were on the news? How did you know that you made it onto the news?
Did you just
I think I went in school and the people were talking about it, and then maybe I saw it, and then there were starting to be Facebook posts because Tanya wore a yellow shirt. And they were talking about the guy in the yellow shirt because he was wearing some Hawkeye sweatshirt because he wasn't expressive. And they thought, yeah, they sure don't have a lot of pep in their rallies. Look at the guy in the yellow shirt. So then, of course, we had to make a lot of fun. Then Tom became the guy in the yellow shirt. You know, we
Oh,
were
yeah. Yeah, I am that
the
guy.
guy in the
I
yellow
am
shirt.
that guy. Oh God.
But anyway, so it was just that
You're a
idea.
local celebrity.
Yeah, but I felt like I was put in a position where I had to defend myself. I didn't because or made to feel like I don't know. I was made to feel
Like, how dare you?
how dare I or
But
I
in
was
reality, you're such a bridge builder. You tell everybody they're a child of God.
right. And
She
you know
is.
what can you do but just let it go or just try to because um sometimes young people know what buttons to push.
Uh-oh.
So I really had to be careful to not let them push a button.
Mhm.
Right.
I had to be really careful because my buttons get pushed easy. So
Well,
Is Aunt Beth prone to pop off sometimes?
I I can get very emotional because I feel deeply.
There
Passionate.
you go.
Yeah.
and that's more,
I can get very
yeah.
emotional. And if people know that, then yeah.
Connie,
And
you had a
I,
go ahead.
well, no, I tell people, especially after this week with those different experiences, I was like, oh, I wear my heart on my sleeve sometimes.
Yeah.
And, um, and then when something happens, it just, oh, I'm just, it really hurts.
You had
Um,
a story about communion, and I believe it was a priest that disagreed with Pope Francis's story, or
oh, yes.
young
Yes.
seminarian.
Yes. It was when Pope Francis had come out and said, I'm paraphrasing, that it was okay for priests to bless same-sex couple marriages,
Yeah.
and that's what he just said. I mean, we're all children of God,
Yeah.
I mean, basically, again, I'm
Mm.
paraphrasing, but this priest in church for his sermon opened up and just said, I will not follow what Pope Francis said.
And this
You
was a
know,
young priest, correct?
young priests, this is a grave sin for priests to do this. It's wrong. Um, and it really affected, I was not there at this particular mass. A very good friend of mine was, and um, she was aware of friends of hers who had a child who was gay. Um, and they were very upset about it. In fact, they left the church. They left the church. But I I just like, no, that's just it's wrong. It's just wrong. That was just very out of line. Um, I will say, in talking about present day slash future and so forth, um, I had just seen something that Pope Leo said as we're getting ready for Lent.
Mm,
And I just really like this guy, right? I really do.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's a
again, I will.
Midwesterner. He's from Chicago.
I know. That's fine.
Yeah.
But again, I'm paraphrasing. But he was saying, as you approach Lent, you know, there's been so much, you know, hate and, people just saying everything, whether it's in, journalism and, but social media, all these avenues that it's it's gotten so rampant. It's become too easy for people to just voice an opinion, you know, um, through the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, again, as I'm paraphrasing, but he's just saying, so take a break from it. Just step back, really, and what are you doing here? And uh, I'm just like, well, I could sort of point that finger at me. Even though anything that I have maybe shared on Facebook, it's something that I felt very passionate about.
Yeah.
And And in my mind, I'm thinking, I want to serve as a way to educate people. This is my way of, I want to share this because this is very thoughtfully written. This really, but I just, yeah,
But then you had a bad experience
then I
this
had a
week.
bad experience.
And it could be, healthy for us to take some breaks sometimes and
Absolutely.
pull
Yes.
back.
But,
Not,
I
not
just
that our
thought, how,
heart's not going to be on our sleeve, but maybe we just get to cover it for a second.
Yeah. But I thought, how appropriate that he had sent, this
Yeah.
message came out, and I said, Connie, I think he's talking to you. But I mean, I just, and I was like, yeah, I just, yeah, there's only so much you can control.
Yeah.
But that's something that you can control. Take a break from it, step back, so.
Well, thank you both so much. We have come to the end of our time. And before I turn it over to James to conclude with his beautiful aunties, I do want to ask one final question to you all. In consideration of the past, the present, and our future musings, what words of wisdom would you give to anyone watching this episode of God Talk? Just take a few moments and think about final parting words of wisdom that you want to share with the world.
I just go back to Dad, and I had mentioned it earlier,
Yeah.
his great sense of humor and the ability to laugh at yourself, and just, don't take life so seriously, and just be, you know, uh, truly count your blessings. There's so much we have to be thankful for.
Right,
So much we have to be thankful for.
right.
Beautiful.
I kind of go back to maybe I Gospels, but maybe working for unity in all areas of life. But
Mm.
and I really get confused about stuff, maybe even things in the church or the world or whatever. It's amazing how, and I read daily scripture or whatever, it's like, wow, I mean, it seems timely or something at time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I find, well, just stay rooted. I guess stay rooted. Maybe how's that?
Stay
Yeah.
Stay rooted
That's good.
and what's
That's a
really
really good
important.
title for this.
Stay
Staying rooted.
rooted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my word. Stay rooted.
There you
I
go.
like
Stay
it.
rooted. Sprinkle yourself with that holy water.
Yeah, and
Maybe,
just
maybe
stay
splash
grounded
them
and
onto your
rooted.
computer too.
Yeah, yep. And yep.
Pour a glass of wine.
Yeah.
You're rooted.
Stay rooted.
Yeah.
James,
Exactly.
want to
What's
close
really
us out
important.
with final words and prayer?
I love it. I'm glad we could make this happen. I know we talked about it, and
Yep.
we're still gonna get you in California sometime, I hope.
I would love that.
Yeah, we would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love that.
Doesn't have to be the last time we do this.
Yeah.
And you can bring Tony and Jim. They're welcome here too.
Oh, they would love the adventure.
Yeah.
We can line out some great places to eat and go for a hike and get a drink.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But thank you. Can I close this in a word of prayer?
Yep.
We are so grateful for our roots, for parents and grandparents, for stories and memories and life lessons. I ask a special blessing on Connie and Beth, that they have many more years of teaching us how to laugh at ourselves, how to notice the deer along the trail, and that they would continue to show us what it means to serve at Head Start, to get out and to be active members of our community, and bless them with good health and many more years. Amen.
Man,
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
thank you.
I loved it. Let's do it again sometime.
All right. Thank you so much, you
That was
guys.
reflective.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.